Here. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Marketing Happy Hour. The Don't Dream It, Stream It Marketing Happy Hour on Friday, September 4th, 2020. It is Labor Day weekend, and as I was talking to John here, by the way, I am one of your hosts, Dr. Christopher Vogelmann of Maximize Your Media, our digital agency that handles everything from Pinterest to Instagram to YouTube to Facebook advertising, and as well as Life Beyond Practice, which is our doctors coaching group for doctors who want to get more free time, freedom, and fun with their own online business. And with me is...
I'm John Paduchak. It's a beautiful weekend here.
You're in New Hampshire.
I am in New Hampshire, and as I was saying to Dr. V, I'm hanging out at the lake today, or for the weekend, so you can kind of see where I'm at today. I'm just sitting here right on the lakefront of Lake Winnipesaukee.
Winnipesaukee. Can you say that 3 times fast?
Probably not. After a few drinks, probably not.
If you've had too much sake, you can't say Winnipesaukee.
You cannot do that. So I'm John Paduchak, and our digital agency is Targeted Net Solutions, and we specialize mostly in live video and webinars, but we do some social posting because videos are social, as we say.
It's a little windy. Your volume is a little down, but I think it's because of the...
How's that? Better?
Oh, that's amazing. The audio quality is so much better when you hold it up just even a little bit and shield it slightly from the wind.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do.
I'm actually surprised that you're here because I was fully expecting that you'd have maybe, download of 12 and an upload of 0.5.
That's about where I am, where I'm actually camping. And so as I was roaming around the campgrounds, I came over by the lake and I said, maybe it would be better because there's no trees or any, it's just water.
No trees,
like right here. And sure enough, I've got like 100 download and 10 upload at the lake. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I am both surprised and delighted, which would be part of any sort of gamification work that I've done for clients in the past.
And so am I. Glad I could make it.
Because Troy has got a car broken down and things like that. I just dropped one of my questions. Excuse me.
Everybody's got issues,
Yeah, mine was actually my that's just crazy. My sticky just drifted away because all of a sudden my wind just suddenly picked up here. That was crazy.
Oh no!
I pulled down a question because I stuck them on sticky notes just because I figured we have questions, so I got little questions on here. And our topic was taking a look at the kinds of questions that might be tanking your business without even you knowing it. The first one, as I recall, was something about the why question, the disempowering why question that we often ask ourselves when things go wrong in business. And the typical one is, why me? Why God? Why did you do this to me? It's one of the questions.
The victim mentality, as I like to call it.
The victim mentality. It's like, why? Well, like as Jim Rohn used to say, well, that's what happens to people like you.
Right. And that's where we just kind of say, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Yeah. And I think one of the ones that I often keep here, because I love Ryan Holiday's book, audio book as well as physical book, which is it's The Obstacle is the Way. The obstacle is the way. And it's through the trials and tribulations and so-called struggles that we actually get to strengthen our mental muscles, our resolve, and we actually gain greater ability. You don't gain in muscle strength if you keep lowering your weights.
No, because it changes our whole framework for the way that we look at things.
Yeah.
When we have challenges.
We don't look forward to the challenge. I mean, the person who is truly competitive in business actually looks forward to competing in the arena, not exiting as quickly as they can to the couch.
Right.
So, but the why question is very interesting. Now, that's a little different from in our businesses creating a powerful why question, which is, for some of us, it may be, why am I even in business as an entrepreneur? Why don't I just take a 9-to-5 job someplace? And what are some of the things that you've come up with in terms of your powerful why? I'll get to mine in a second.
Oh, gosh. It's funny, the things that formulate our why. In my case, it was mostly my son, because my son is on the autistic spectrum.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that really formulated my why was, my whole health crisis that I had a while back. So, those are the kinds of things that fall into play and really change things around, shake things up a lot.
Hey, I guess Terry's here.
Hey,
See if I can
Terry.
find Terry. She says, just popping in to say howdy. Oh, they're having a birthday party for my grandbaby. Okay, well, thank
Birthday
you,
parade.
Terry. A birthday
Oh,
parade.
that sounds exciting. Is that one of those
A
parades
parade.
where
Oh,
like
so
everybody
you can
shows up in
so you
town?
can be safe and socially distant. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that hits us with the whole family thing. Actually, I'm looking at the branding here. I want to take off. This is one of the things that hits me every once in a while. I want to just take off your this thing so people can see. Actually, you know what? What if we just change this? Is that a better? No, that's not a better perspective. I like you closer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off that. Oh, you didn't put johnpaduchak.com. I'm gonna put it back.
I didn't because
because
for some reason it wouldn't let me write.
You got no.
But that's okay.
Ain't nobody got no time for that.
Because on my iPhone today.
I can see. Actually, see this format. Actually, by the way, for those of you interested in doing live broadcasting, this format is particularly good. This vertical format is much better than if I switch John back to the other one where he has mostly, I guess, black space around him.
Yeah, that would be a great time.
That one.
30 cars driving by, honking music.
It does show the marketing happy hour logo much better though.
Yeah, it does, but you can't really see us.
No, that's not so good because who wouldn't want to see us after all?
Somebody probably.
Somebody. There are plenty of people. We've had our group of hecklers from time to time, but I'm glad Terry stopped by not to heckle us, which was great.
And which I love.
And she did not. Oh, she did not have to jekyll us either. Heckle or jekyll.
Usually hecklers make fun of my head.
20 cars. Oh, so
30
20 cars coming by.
Cars.
Oh, that's just great. God, I don't think I could get 20 cars to come by for my birthday.
I don't think so either.
So it's like, no. I don't think anybody would spend the gas to.
In fact, my birthday's next week.
Well, on Friday?
Next week. I don't know. What day is the 10th? Thursday? Wednesday? Thursday?
No. Well, no. Yeah.
The 10th
is the 11th. September 11th is
Never
Friday.
forget.
Never forget.
Never forget.
I never forget, by the way.
I never forget.
We're not going to go too far off the rails here but I never forget because in 1993, I was the best man at my youngest brother's wedding, and that was September 11th, 1993. So needless to say, back after 2001, on September 11th, they never had trouble getting a reservation at a restaurant. So
No. But having a birthday near that really changes things a lot because
it changes a lot of things.
Yeah, we look at that a whole different way now because my birthday is the 10th. My friend Dennis Becker, his birthday is the 12th, and a lot of other friends. It's like we always remember September 11th right around our birthdays. It's really changed things up a lot.
Yeah, well, that's just part and parcel. I mean, think of all the kids who were born on December 7th. Who had to go through Pearl Harbor Day. So
yes.
It's a similar type of thing. I think numbers are less of an issue. I mean, somebody might ask the question, why was I born on September 11th, or why did we have our anniversary on September 11th? Well, why? Because it was an available date. And in terms of you coming into the world, the 10th or the 12th, they were available dates as far as your creator was concerned.
And he had a reason for that day.
There was a reason.
There was a reason.
So you could always get reservations at Chuck E. Cheese. So
you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
So the why question is very interesting. So it became creating your powerful why. I mean, for me, the why is because I want more time to travel internationally. The why is because I want to be able to take care of my family. The why is because I just got tired. I mean, I love my patients, don't get me wrong, but I just got tired of being trapped in the office all the time. And I did not want to any longer to have to deal with large numbers of staff, insurance regulations, patients who sometimes were kind of cranky, and a lot of the stuff that has to do with being a health practitioner in today's world, government regulations, all those other things. So my why was personally, I guess I'm on my own avatar, to have more free time, freedom, and fun, or free time, freedom, and funds. Because I will tell you, working one-on-one, unless you have a very high ticket type of approach to client work, there's only so many minutes and hours in the day that you can devote to one-to-one patient care. And so for me, the why do you want to get into an online business, primarily an online business? I mean, because I want to be able to do it wherever I go. So, and but that's a powerful why. But if
That
you
is
have
a powerful why.
Yeah, if you have an advertising campaign that didn't work, or you had people who aren't opening up your emails, there can be a useful why, saying, now, why may that not have happened? So your why can actually cause you to then delve into research. And you can ask the what. What went wrong? Or what do I think went wrong in a particular campaign? I know that we've done, I've done a lot of email work in the last couple of months, I guess, and Cam and Troy both have been touting, the importance of building your email list, of course. And why do you want an email list? Because as Troy says, it's your method of distribution. And the other why do you want an email list is because it enables you to hold on no matter what platform may cancel you out, or no matter how your reach may decrease in social media and other places. At least you have your email list where you can start over again.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, with that whole thing that happened with me on Facebook, it's really got me thinking about all of that. Yeah, because I
tell people a little bit about that, because they may not know what happened.
Yeah, so I had somebody hack into my Facebook account. Gosh, what was it now? Almost 3 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
And I was traveling at the time, and then all of a sudden I get a call from a friend of mine that I run ads for him, and he said, "Geez, did you do something to my account? Something was different. I can't remember what." Then I noticed that somebody had hijacked into my account and took over my business ad manager and one of my pages, adminned it, and dropped me down a level. So, and that's fun because you can just never get a hold of anybody at Facebook to fix anything.
That's really
also
hard.
Not a great situation. So I'll tell you, it's got me thinking a lot about my Facebook and their future with my advertising money.
Well, yeah, we've had experiences. I've done some things personally with YouTube ads, and with not a lot with YouTube ads, but more Google ads, as well as Facebook ads. And for me, it's great when you're developing, doing development for clients where you want to get more lead generation for them. On the other hand, you really don't want to put all your apples into that one Facebook basket, or just into YouTube, or just into, say, Instagram, for example. I mean, we have several people I know who are just killing it on Instagram, not as much on Facebook.
Right.
And so we just divert the resources over there to Instagram, because we ask the question, what's working now? That's an empowering question, as opposed to where did I go wrong?
Well, it definitely gets you thinking about, I spent all this time creating, community and connections on Facebook, and then, to watch that kind of almost disappear overnight, and then wonder, geez, what am I going to do now? It definitely gets you thinking more about the things that you own and really control, like your email list and all of those
like
things.
James, our mutual friend James Schramko for superfastbusiness.com. Both of us have been members. You're still a member, and
still a member. You've
got that backdoor thing. I have to talk to you about that later. Anyway, but I got to meet him a couple of times, and his thing was always the OTR. And what is OTR? It's not like OTB, off track betting. OTR, all change here, whatever. OTR is own the race course. Yep. And so you don't want to build your entire business on rented land. Nope. And having an email list enables you to own your list. And you're not owning people, but you do have access to their email addresses, their names, and possibly to their cell phone numbers if you're really creative in your opt-in forms. And if they really do like and trust you.
The one thing I love about that, when James talked about that, was the fact that not only are you creating a great content distribution system, but you're creating such great connection points and goodwill with people.
Yeah.
Because he's got all those different methodologies for adding value to the content that you create.
And and that type of thing is just it strikes me as very interesting, because I do have friends they've had their ad accounts shut down on Facebook, or they've had their entire page taken away on Facebook, either for something that was controversial there, or just because somebody at Facebook may have pushed the wrong button and deleted them by accident.
Oh, yeah.
And that, because that actually has happened too. Facebook is run by humans, not just computers, and sometimes humans make mistakes. So
yeah, it's barely run by humans from what I've seen.
Barely run by humans.
Barely run by humans.
I know Zuckerberg sometimes appears as something out of Westworld.
So after 3 weeks, I'm about
Are you back?
2/3 fixed.
Oh,
And every time I open a new support case, they close it. They never
Right.
refer it. They never refer it to who should get it, and then they say, "Oh, sorry, you're in the wrong place. Go back and make another choice."
Start
And
over.
It just keeps going over and over and over. It's like working with Facebook is like the definition of insanity.
yeah, doing the same thing over
It's
and
an
over.
oxymoron.
Expecting a different result.
So
Yeah. Well, my history with Facebook goes back to 1976, but that's a story for a future time. Hey, so
oh yeah, I'm sure.
yeah, but
Harvard,
Harvard, as
Harvard.
Harvard, Paduchak. Hey,
Yes.
so another question. So we had the what question, and I put all these questions on stickies because I just wanted to have them.
That's good.
Because I thought I was going solo, because that your
I would never do
connection
that
would
to
be-
you if I could help it.
that your connection would be so low that I wouldn't be able to do it.
2 weekends ago wasn't so great.
So
what
yeah.
happened, but-
Anyway, so one of the one is the what questions, and I like the
Yeah.
what questions
I do too.
because some other whats reflect to, like, when you talk about your why, that
Mhm.
the what is in terms of what does my ideal day look like.
Mm.
So as an entrepreneur, when you're building a business, one of the questions is, what does your ideal day look like? I think Monica's messaging me. That's interesting. Oh, no longer available.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
so keep going. What is your ideal
Oh,
day
she
look
has
like?
no link. I'm sorry. I have to send her a link in case she wants to come in. We could
Huh?
have 3 people. All right. So my ideal day is, I can get up when I choose to,
Mhm.
and then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I've been working really late, say like 2, 3 in the morning or so. I could wake up at 10 if I choose to. I could wake up at 5 if I choose to, and I'm able to set my own schedule. So usually my ideal day consists of, there's coffee that's being made. Either I make it or my wife makes it, and the smell just wafts up to the second floor, and I can go down there and just we're playing classical music on the Alexa Echo. And it just starts out just very nice, and I don't have to tune in to CNN or Fox News or OAN or anything else like that's out there, and and it's where I can start something, either maybe a guided meditation that morning, or just have a nice conversation over a cup of coffee with my wife, so we can kind of plan out the day. Now, if the redhead is home because he's doing homeschooling, it's a little different. That actually is not my ideal day, but I can adapt to it because now we're fighting over bandwidth. So I tend to do my broadcasts after 3 in the afternoon if possible, because his school day ends then. And so that's one of the things. So we do fight over bandwidth sometimes. But my ideal day would really be, having probably being in other places too. That the ideal day is waking up in a different country and trying something brand new.
Mm.
Yeah. And so I realized long ago that I couldn't do that if I was stuck in an office in the same location everywhere. So, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming. She's waving at me. But my ideal day, who's here? You're going to have to turn off your volume.
Hey,
Being in other places too. Turn down the volume.
there we go.
No, I just muted her.
I think I had you on.
I've unmuted you.
You did.
Yeah.
Welcome. We have
Hi,
to
guys.
Hi, Monica.
the marketing
Hi.
happy hour. What is his beverage of your choice today? Actually, John doesn't have a beverage.
No, I walked away from the camper. with
I
my
have
beverage.
water too. He's near the lake, so he's got
I got
lots of
a
water.
lot of water.
Link.
A lot of water.
Lots of water. Wow.
got
I
a
live
lake.
across from a lake, so I have a little bit of water too.
You are the lake people. I am the
I
ocean.
know.
Lake people. Where
I
are
like
you?
the ocean.
Bill?
I'm at Lake Winnipesaukee.
He's in New
Oh.
Hampshire.
It's very nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
it almost sounds like my hometown, Winnipeg.
It is like that. At the beginning of it,
Sort of,
It's
yeah.
There's probably Native American
Definitely.
word in there somewhere, which Winna
something.
or Winnie,
Winnipeg.
Winning.
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, Winnipesaukee, Winnipeg.
So we're talking marketing, huh?
We
Marketing.
are.
So we're talking marketing. We're asking the questions that may disempower or empower your marketing. And we were just covering right now, what is my ideal day? So John, you asked me, now I'm going to ask you, what does your ideal day look like?
Yeah, you know, my ideal day typically starts out a couple years ago. I really delved into the miracle morning, and I adopted kind of that strategy first thing in the day, and it's been fantastic. So I start with that, which is, you know, visualization, prayer, meditation, exercise, some reading, and, you know, working on self-improvement. And then I just dive into the rest of the day. But I wish coffee was on the menu. That unfortunately went off a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's right, because they're the acidity.
The acidity, and then I have some kind of thing with the caffeine, even decaffeinated coffee. It just bothers me. So no coffee. We've switched to tea now. So usually starts out with a nice hot cup of tea in the morning.
Tea with caffeine or caffeine free?
Now it's funny. Tea with caffeine seems to be packaged differently than coffee.
Interesting.
And it doesn't bother me. So
that's very interesting.
It's not as strong. It's not as strong.
It also is not as strong. Correct.
It's really strange because I've heard so many people say, this is a little off track of our questions, that tea was actually had a higher amount of caffeine but less acid than coffee.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it depends on how you brew it, I guess.
Depends what kind of tea as well. Depends what kind of tea.
Lots of green tea for me usually.
Yeah. But, so the what question? So do you want to be John? But you wanted to be somewhat independent of location too, right?
I did want to be independent of location, which is, you know, one of the reasons that I worked so hard on being able to work mobily over the last couple of years, because that was a big thing for us to be independent of location. Unfortunately, my wife's a physical therapist and in private practice, and she really can't work mobily very well.
You want to take the RV and drive? You could drive to everybody's house with the RV.
No, I know, right?
So
that's the one thing that holds us back from the mobile lifestyle at the moment.
We just started bringing physical therapy back into the home a couple of weeks ago for my husband. Home health. Yeah. So I was like very leery for the last 4 or 5 months, but now I feel okay.
Nice.
Physical therapy and OT.
Yeah. It's great. It's great that they have adopted that, and more and more of that healthcare is available at home. So,
So Monica, what does your ideal day look like?
Like what I'm living right now, within the parameters of what I'm living right now?
Where you are now and where you'd like to be.
Well, it would look very different from what I'm living right now, but
or maybe we could go back to your old ideal day from 5 years ago.
You know, my old ideal day was filled with work and, you know, television and running a successful practice and business. And now I the comfort that I have is my cat is there in the morning and she's a comfort to me. And
Does
my
she
husband
make coffee?
She doesn't, but one of my husband's aides is now you know, putting the kettle on for me. So when I come downstairs, it's boiled, and then I put it in my French press, and 10 minutes later, voila, I have my coffee. It's a it's a ground French organic that I get from Costco. Jose's organic French roast.
Jose's organic French. Well, Jose is my father-in-law. I didn't know he was French.
Yeah.
So we're making coffee.
So I have that, and then we get our day start, and then I do sometimes there's a Tara Brock that I've mentioned to you before, Christopher. She's a Buddhist psychologist, and she does these. She's stationed sounds militaristic. She's in the DC area, and she used to do these weekly presentations. So I like listening to her, and I'll listen to other things, you know, for an hour in the mornings, just to sort of inspire me and take me out of the news. So I try to stay away from the news. And
I think the news can be a major distractor for anybody trying to create a successful business.
I almost think it's you completely have to
shut it off
away from the news. Yeah,
I have, and mind you, I'm a terrible news junkie. So not only did I get rid of bread and alcohol and desserts and all these other things, but I got rid of my news. And so in doing so, having lived in DC for 27 years, I've been to all these parties with all these politicians, and I see a lot of the same faces all the time it doesn't matter which broadcast news that is on there. And so that I had a little bit of withdrawal when I stopped watching news, and now I just go in tiny snippets. I don't tune in usually for more than 15 minutes in a single day, and then I'm out of there.
Yeah,
it's mainstream media that I try to avoid because it's very hyped, and I choose my media. There's a lot of really good, credible sources on YouTube and online, and that's what I choose to watch. Credible, so it's a little less corporate. Shall we put it that way? It's a little less corporate media.
Yes.
So speaking of credible, so when we have a certain amount of trust in ourselves, and people come to us for trust because they know, like, and trust us, or know, love, and trust us. My next what question was, what can I create? What can I create? And so for me, it's been coaching programs and certain digital agency programs where you solve a problem. John, what's been your thing in terms of what you can create, or when you ask yourself the question?
Yeah, in my world, it's been definitely more along the line of coaching programs and helping people, with video. But we've also done a lot of work lately with friends who've been trying to develop products that just have some great stuff and have been able to put it together.
What does great stuff mean? Without revealing the products.
Yeah, I know, right? Just tremendous knowledge in a particular area, and just haven't had the success in being able to put together their own product. So I've worked with a couple of friends trying to get putting a couple things together, and that's been great.
You're talking digital products or physical products?
Digital.
Oh yeah, because Maggie and I
had
LED bike lights and flashlights and stuff, and the physical product world was one that we've got deep experience in it, and if we were to ever go back to it again, we'd know what to do. But my question is, why do the why question I have is, why would I go through that much pain again? So what Monica, as far as what you
I am a continuous creative being. I just can't stop creating things like programs and PDFs, and I created this quiz. John, I know Christopher was involved with this quiz. It was in my book, and we just sort of morphed it into something. It's still in its morphing stage. It's in a stage, but it's fun. And a while back I created a healthy eating game, sort of a board game. So there's all sorts of things that I don't have a problem with creating things. It's the problem that I have is getting it out there, getting it out to the people that want it. And also, I think it's an important thing is to find out what people want. And really,
the what question was, what is their dominant pain? That was the next one.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Well, there it is.
There it is.
That's a big one.
On the stickies.
Yep.
I got so many stickies here. This is actually kind of fun. I will recycle these, by the way, so don't worry. So some of the questions. So we talked about the why questions, which sometimes can be disempowering. The what's. Sometimes it's just the what do I do now, or what can I do differently, or where can I go to find my audience, for example. But the how question is what I came back to, which was, how can I improve? How can I improve my marketing plan? How can I improve my website? How can I improve my funnel? How can I improve my morning routine? So that I don't get derailed first thing in the morning by checking my inbox, which, by the way, now the part of the how do I become less distracted led to me only checking my emails probably on normal occasions, 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. That's it. Yeah. So if anybody wonders why I haven't responded to emails, it's because I tend not to open my inbox except for 10 and 4. And it's maybe a 15, 20-minute window each time. because I can get so easily distracted by answering
You can.
everybody else's urgencies rather than taking care of what's most important for me and my family at that particular time.
Isn't that Stephen Covey 101?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Stephen,
Yeah.
I was with Stephen Covey. He stood in front of me at a seminar in D.C., staring straight at me, and I started fidgeting in my chair because he started telling me this whole thing.
Did he
So
ask you one of the 7?
he burned his image into my brain long before he passed away. So
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Powerful.
yeah, it was very powerful. But the how question. So when you ask yourself the question, how can I improve, John? What would you say? What are the how questions you ask yourself,
The how questions I ask myself.
or something that would help somebody to? I mean, let's look at the negative one. You know, it's like, how can I be so stupid? That would be the one that would disempower me if I was failing in business, or how
Yeah.
could this have gone wrong?
For me, you know, I know you went to Tony Robbins a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah,
about a month ago now, right?
What was it called? Unleash the Power Within. In fact, Maggie joined that one. I came along for the ride. They had, God, that was the biggest Zoom call in the world. There were like 30,000 people on that Zoom call.
And one of my
impressive.
But one of my favorite things that he always taught to get to the hows was, you know, what did I do right? What can I do better? And you know, what should I change? What went right? What went wrong? What do I need to change to improve things?
Yeah.
Those 3 questions have really changed things a lot for me. I know everything I do when I analyze what's gone on for the day. Those are the things that I try to come back to.
I remember my first Tony
notes
Robbins.
of.
Yeah, my first Tony Robbins. There was some or whatever it was. It was the power or unleash the power. Power. Yeah. Personal power, I guess, and that book, it was really the power of questions was the one thing that really stuck out in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And asking the right questions can elicit the more constructive outcomes.
Mm.
You know, it's interesting. I've always been accused of asking too many questions in my life.
It's like, that's a very clinical thing, and I do the same thing. My favorite part of practice, Monica, was the intake. Was the consultation. I like the consultation better than the exam or anything like that, because the consultation got me the chance to unravel and reveal someone's story to me, and I love it.
Right.
You know, I'm the youngest of 8 kids, and so it annoyed most of my siblings that I asked all those questions.
Did you ask the why question all the time? Why?
Why?
How come? You know, any version of that.
Are we there yet?
But yeah, so I did that then, and then I, did a lot of television, and I was interviewing a lot of people, and then certainly in my practice, always questions, and every session that I have with them, always questions, and I just think they can be extremely revealing, of course, and to not only the questioner but the questionee.
As opposed to questions A, B, C, and D.
The interviewee.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
the question.
Right to improvement, and always, trying to discover and learn and get better. In the work that I do, that's what I'm trying to help people with anyway. And so I don't think it sort of stops at the client. It's for everyone. We're always improving all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like what went well. I'm thinking of a couple of things that I've done recently, because I look at the stats all the time, because I help out with my wife's newsletters and stuff. And you look at it and say, now, why did that email not get as many opens? Or how can we increase the click-throughs? And how do we do this? And it's this never-ending process, constant and never-ending improvement. The Kenai from what's his name again? The guy who was in Japan.
The Waterman?
Oh, the fellow in Japan he went to Japan. I know the name. It's going to come to me a little later.
I do too, and I can't think of it.
Yeah, but he was the one who created the constant, never-ending improvement in Japanese industry.
Oh, because they.
No.
Yeah, I know.
He wasn't Japanese. He was American.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out later. Anyway, but the reality is that it's asking the question, how can we improve, as opposed to focusing on what went wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's a life journey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Constantly asking that question, how can I be better? How can I solve this problem? And how can I solve this problem for my clients as well? Or
Yeah.
how can I help them solve it for themselves?
And being a healthcare provider, being a doctor, a nutritionist, a physical therapist, and a dentist, anyone, it's, find that underlying problem and offer a solution. And it's true in non-medical industries. If somebody, what is the solution to days that are too damn bright in Southern California? Sunglasses.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And so there are many other things that go along these lines. I may have to mute Monica's phone's coming
Sorry.
in. I think that was opportunity calling.
Opportunity calling.
It might be.
Somebody wants another program.
I'm taking care of a very ill husband, a spouse, and what I like. It's not easy. It's very difficult. But I'm a problem solver all the time, and I have to be creative all the time to figure out how to improve, how to make things better for everybody involved. So
Sure.
I think it's just I think depending on what you're doing in life, we're always doing it to some extent, trying to improve,
these are indeed the how questions. It's the how do I questions.
How do I?
So I've got the how do I blank, and I just had a couple of them here. How do I can't even read my own writing. How do I read my writing?
You doctors.
How do I keep my own books? Which leads you back to what software do I use, for example.
Right.
How do I build a brand?
Mm-hmm.
How do I build a website?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need a website is one of the questions nowadays, but that brings in all of our funnel software and things like that. How do I build a website? How do I create a logo? How do I hire a VA? How do I train my staff? How do I keep good staff? How do I train them? So there's a lot of how questions that come up all the time.
Mm.
And it's interesting too, because when you start to fill in, if you do a Google search and you start to fill in anything about a particular niche that you're looking at or a particular problem you're looking to solve, it's the how-to questions. If you just start it with how-to, and you'll see the most popular searches auto-populated, and clicking those links just brings you into doing some SEO work. The how-tos and other alternative suggestions at the bottom of the page are the ones you really want to dig into, because those are the ones that most people aren't paying attention to, yet other potential customers are asking those questions.
Yeah.
So listening to people's questions and places, forums like Quora, or looking at Reddit.
I love Quora. I love Quora.
Do you answer stuff on Quora? That was my question.
No, I don't. I don't get involved because I just it takes a lot of energy to actually answer and get involved in some of these forums, because it's not just you saying something. You may get feedback, and then you're engaged in this whole journey. And I just don't have the space for that right now. But maybe sometime in the future.
Asking of questions in chatbots is something that I've been exploring lately, and it turns out to be really valuable. So I have a small automation that has taken place. Sorry, I've got helicopters flying by right now. I have a small automation that when somebody does accept a friend request from me, the automation goes out and just simply asks the question. It says, "Hey, what book are you currently reading?" And the second question is, "You're not a bot or a fake profile, are you?" And that second question, the combination of those two questions, has produced some of the most engaging conversations that I've ever had on Facebook with a new connection. And that was,
and they're simple.
And they're unique. And I will have to give a shout out to Brendan Duff, who has his own Facebook CRM, and he's got something, I think it's the Social Tycoon is his program. And it was very interesting because creating those real relationships, even within automation, is a very powerful way to build your business, as opposed to just, I see a lot of people just befriending people or setting up connections on LinkedIn and immediately going in for the kill.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that.
No.
You don't do that. You want to develop relationships.
Yeah.
And
I would say, so what are the questions that we ask about relationships? I mean, kind of like I like to think of social media as going to a party, as I've said before, and you don't want to be the a-hole at the party. And so as opposed to you suddenly introduce yourself, "Hi, and immediately your next comment is, do you want to buy some life insurance? That would not get you very far at most parties, and it would get you thrown out of ours. So don't try that if we do invite you to a socially distant.
I mean, you hear that all the time in networking circles when you go to a chamber event or something like that. People are just automatically passing out their cards, and it's like, you've got a collection of cards at the end of the event, and like, who did I connect with?
Oh, and they're meaningless usually.
Yeah.
Unless you write, I always used to write notes at the end of at the back of the cards. The problem with the cards was I'd put them into a pile, and I had this huge pile of cards. And 2-3 months later, I'd start entering them into my database, and I wouldn't remember more than 10% of the people from those cards.
And people are looking for connection.
Right.
Yes.
We're sort of so distanced right now. People are looking for like real connection, whether it's social media or Zoom or whatever. That's what people want and need right now.
Hey, so John,
agree?
Yeah.
Everybody?
I agree with you 100%. Hey, John, what are some of your favorite questions when you start establishing rapport with people?
Oh my gosh.
Like, who are you? No.
Not the proverbial, what do you do, right?
Well, it's always, what do you do? Yeah. And I think
I mean,
it's almost like, why don't we just ask the question, how much money do you make? That's our first question.
I'm kind of funny in that regard, though, because I don't know. I have an unusual way of asking people questions, and I tend to feel my way into it as opposed to having specific things that I always go to. So I'm very where lots of people, when they just start to ask questions, they just dive right in. Me, I'm much more directed by the vibes I'm getting from the people I'm talking to.
So your senses, you're sensing things. Yeah.
I'm much more intuitive about the way that I do that.
Yeah, the one how question that I always use, which seems to work well, is, how do you know so-and-so? Like, what's your connection?
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
That's an easy one.
That's a bonding.
That is always
That's
a good
bonding.
one.
And they'll tell you the history. Yeah, I was at a bar, at an event in Austin, Texas, and he came up and bought me a drink, and that's how I know.
Yeah. That's very bonding, because then you have a connection to whoever it is. And yeah.
And the big thing is, people always like to talk about themselves. There's really not much that you could say that you could go wrong unless you turn the conversation back to you.
Yeah.
As long as you keep the conversation on them, they'll think you're the most interesting person in the world because you want to know all about them.
Which leads us to the who questions.
Yeah.
Not Dr. Who.
Did I answer that question?
Sure, you can answer that question.
Yeah.
What was the question again? What's the question?
What are the questions? What are the questions that you ask someone
when I meet them
to start a conversation or to meet them? Yeah. Or the types of questions you'd ask.
How are you?
How are you?
That's a good
one. Here? What brings you here?
My creator brought me here.
What brings you here, and who do you know? That's who do you know? What are you interested in?
You don't say, what's wrong with you?
I do often ask.
Sometimes I do
often ask,
what the hell are you doing here?
What's the matter with you?
What's the matter?
What's the matter for you? No, I don't. I ask them, I often do ask them what sort of work they do, because I'm curious and I'm wondering, that kind of gives me a little more information about how to kind of, how should the conversation should go, I find out what they do. I ask more about what they do. And then they, as you said, John, they start talking about what they do, and that makes them feel pretty connected to you as the conversation
and parents especially
goes
always
on.
love to talk about their
kids. Yeah, I often do ask, what do you do? What sort of work do you do?
Yeah.
Kids, yeah.
I try to,
that sort of often
when it
comes.
comes to relations.
Oh, where are you from? Where are you from?
Yeah, where are you from?
Where are you from? Yeah.
That's how Doc and I met.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Where are you from?
Western New York.
Buffalo, New York, the Miami
New York.
of the North, the Paris of the Northeast.
We both started there, and then we came to where I am, and then the only thing I didn't do is follow him to San Diego.
That's true.
That's true. Known each other that long?
No,
it's been a matter of months. But we both come from Western New York.
Yeah.
And so
Christopher and I have known each other for 16 years or 14 years.
Longer than that. It was 1996. So
it's a long time. Yeah.
We're talking 24 years. So.
Oh my God. It's almost our 20th.
And they said it wouldn't last. They said it wouldn't last.
It's anniversary next year, Christopher.
What are you going to buy me?
There you go.
Big chewy.
Ta-da.
Spaghetti squash.
It's
A
little
butternut.
chewy. This is a butternut squash.
Butternut.
Very good
Excuse
choice.
me, butternut. I would prefer
my
spaghetti squash. So,
Yeah, I prefer this anyway. Squash is
God.
good.
Okay, so squash. So speaking of squashing our failures in favor of success, so the who questions. Well, one of the ones was who can I help, and I think that comes
that's a
to
good one.
our audience selection. Like,
Mm.
who do I like to work with, and who is my avatar? And for anybody who say, if you say you ask somebody who do you help for your business, and they say everyone, that person does not have a business.
No.
They have no idea.
You're not helping anybody.
No.
No.
No, they have an imaginary fantasy business known as a hallucinogenic hobby. So,
It is true. It is true that you can't help everyone.
No, even though you might want to. Even though you
Well,
might want to.
even
Right.
even those who potentially can help everyone, like a
Right.
policeman or a fireman. Unless you have a fire, I don't know that fireman's going to do a lot of good for you. Maybe restart your heart. Provide you with transportation.
Sure.
But even those who are school teachers are not going to be able to necessarily help a 65-year-old grandmother.
Yes.
Maybe,
Maybe.
but I'm just saying that we tend to have very select or narrow audiences. But even somebody like we talked about earlier, like a Tony Robbins, he's not going to help everybody. Language might even be a barrier.
I think language would definitely be a barrier.
Well, yeah,
With Tony.
especially if you
For some
only
people.
speak Swahili. So,
I think
Yes.
it's often like who you attract as well. There's the whole. I was listening to Fabienne Fredrickson, who is a coach. She's in France now, but she lived in New York, but she does business coaching. But she was talking about like repelling certain people, and the more you are yourself in your marketing, it's funny if you're, intelligent and have depth or whatever you are, that's who you're going to either attract or repel.
Right.
Because they will either like or not like you, and so that's a good way to,
and you shouldn't have a convulsion if you have people, with repulsion.
Right.
Because at least it lets you know who are the people you do not want to have. In fact, because the other question here is, who do I like to work with?
Yeah.
Because you may have a particular avatar, you may have a particular customer who you think is your ideal customer, and you attract them, and you say, "Oh, I really don't like these people as much as I thought."
Right, or demographics too.
Yeah.
Who are your demographics? And you may love like I don't know, teenagers or children, but maybe that's not really who you really want to help.
Right.
No.
That's true.
You want to help the mama. Maybe you want to help the mama of the kids, and that's you're helping the kids in that way because you're helping the mother, and then they help their kids. So that's how what I do. I'm so happy to be able to help women who have children, and
Well, and you use those questions to narrow it down too. It's like women ages such and such to such and such with their 2.3 children and an income of 100K or whatever it turns out to be.
Yeah.
Professionals. We were talking about that earlier today about, you would go for attorneys, but not necessarily pharmaceutical sales reps, for example.
Right. Yeah.
So I think I've exhausted my list of stickies here. What are some of your favorite questions that you like to use in business? I'll start with you, John.
Favorite questions that I like
Favorite
to use
questions. The ones that work best for you when things go wrong. Let's go back to that.
Oh gosh, I think when anything goes wrong, I just really try to reframe things and learn from it.
Yeah.
Just asking, why did this happen? How did I end up in this situation, or what can I learn from it? What's the lesson here? Because there's always a lesson.
Yeah, what can I learn from it, and what's the lesson? Those are great questions.
I think that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Because then it just really gets me thinking about, what happened and how do I get beyond it, and because there's always something we're meant to learn, right? So my first question is always, what's the lesson here?
What color? Monica.
Yeah. What can I do to move forward?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And so yeah. So what can I do to move forward? What have I learned? What can I do better? Who can I enroll to help make it better? Because I think business doing it alone is like a very lonely journey.
That is.
It's a team sport, really, and it takes a village for to create something of value. And everyone has their gifts, and you just build this team, and that's kind of who can help, and what could I do better? What could we do better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that two of my favorite questions is my favorite questions what's next and what now? And the what's next is the anticipation that something different is going to happen. The other thing that really occurs to me, and I had this past week in a group that I belong to, a sales mastery group, and it's very interesting, is the amount of listening that you do as a coach or consultant is directly proportional to your success. And those pregnant pauses are probably the most valuable time that you're going to spend with a client or a patient or a customer.
You know what? I think we should call this not happy hour. We should call this business therapy.
Business therapy, yeah.
There you go.
Business therapy. Well, that's why we started out usually with alcoholic beverages for a Friday.
But now we're so much more in control.
As you can tell by our logo over there next to John. Yeah. So.
That looks like Big Chewy.
A little. No, that's actually an umbrella drink. So
it's a pina colada or something.
Something like that. It could be a spiked agua fresca pepino, which is on my wife's blog this week. So
that sounds good.
Tequila only. So.
So anyway, thirsty, John. We're drinking, and you don't have anything with you.
He's got to go dip into the lake to get his drink.
There you go.
I gotta go jump in the lake.
Sounds refreshing.
I'm here with no AC and a fan that's only partially working.
Or walk back to the camper, which is a little ways down that way.
How far away is it?
Camping is a big deal this summer.
Can you see?
Are you a happy camper?
It's all the way down this line over here.
Why is that that far away? I'm surprised that your internet coverage craps out that quickly.
I'm surprised it's as good as it is.
As good as it is at Lake Winnipesaukee.
I didn't have any at the camper, and then when I came out to the lake, it was perfect. So
shout out to the folks who are providing.
Go figure.
Shout out to the folks who are providing internet coverage to Lake Winnipesaukee.
There you go.
That looks like fun.
It is.
Yeah.
So among all of us, who's going to be laboring on Labor Day this year?
I labor every day.
I know.
Me too. Every day.
Even when I'm away having fun.
Well, I think that goes back to the question we had earlier about lifestyle and what is my ideal day? What kind of do people really want? Here's the question for all of you. Do you want a lifestyle business, or do you want to be able to grow a business, say 8 figures or more, 8 figures, 9 figures?
Can I just add this? I don't think labor is a bad thing. I enjoy working. I enjoy
particularly if you love what you're doing.
Yeah. So even I kind of run a at-home hospital. I mean, that's very intense, but it is creative, as I mentioned, and so problem solving.
It is.
So yeah, and of course my practice. But what was the question again?
The question,
John, you can answer that one.
Well, I was going to say. So I'll answer the question. So,
$8 million.
So for me, it's very much
lifestyle business.
Yeah, because that's why I like to think that's why we do what we do, is just to be able to enjoy the lifestyle we desire. So
I harken back
definitely.
I harken back to James Schramko, because he was one of the early influencers on me, because I really did have aspirations of building a software company back in 2000. Sure. And I had business plans, I had potential investors. It was amazing. And then the whole dot-com bomb crashed. And I revived it again in a different business plan form. And I came to the recognition many years ago that I had managed to create essentially, and I had funding for this thing, which is a little crazy. But it was funding for a
Oh.
chain of integrative medical clinics up and down the East Coast.
Watch the
And
spider.
I was about to sign a deal.
Oh, hi.
Look
We
who
have
dropped
you.
in.
What was that?
I
Oh,
knew
Who
hi.
dropped in?
Hi,
Welcome.
hi, welcome.
I could have hired you, Andrew, in
Happy
my
hour.
chain of clinics up and down the East Coast.
Mhm.
But anyway, so, but I
Yeah,
had
we're
I
having
had-
a happy hour.
I had this big investment thing, and I thought to myself, I was trying to get out of the office, and I realized if I was unhappy being chained to one office. What made me think that running up and down the East Coast to 6 other offices, chained to all 6
yeah.
of them, would make me any happier? And that's when I abandoned the whole chain clinic thing, walked away from a multi-million-dollar deal that I was about to sign on, and recognized that I would not be happy, that I needed some sort of a lifestyle business as opposed to being chained to what was going to become easily, an 8-figure, possibly a 9-figure business. With me probably developing alcoholism and overeating in the process of coping.
You see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was sort of pursuing like a media career as well, and saw and part of my ideal lifestyle, my ideal day was sort of encompassing that, and that it's a lot of work, and but
Especially if you get to do a morning show and you have to be up at
yeah, exactly.
3:30 every morning.
On
Yeah.
at 3 in the morning, and so yeah. But
So I think it would appear that all of us wanted some degree of freedom for being able to determine our own schedule. And I think a lot of people who start in the online world or are solopreneurs, there's a transition phase in which you try to do everything all by yourself.
Mhm.
And then you reach a point where you realize you can't do everything by yourself in terms of social media posting and creation and your own graphic design and your own website design and this and that. Not that it's not a bad idea to have some idea what those things are like, but at some point you have to ask yourself the question, which of these tasks can I offload to somebody else? And because otherwise you have just exchanged a 9-to-5 job for self-employment, which may be a 9 to midnight job.
24/7.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you could be on 24/7, and that's probably in my mind is probably worse than the 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, you're immersed in it. You're thinking about it all the time. It's just like and you're managing it, and you're doing every role almost, and yeah. So
I mean, I saw that with my dad in his practice, where he was a solo guy in an office home practice. The main reason being that my mom wouldn't let him hire an office assistant because she was away teaching, and the idea of having my father in the house with another woman, that was just sent her into the stratosphere.
Mm.
And so my dad did everything. He answered the phones, booked the patients, took care of the patients, did the x-rays, all of it. And the only relief that he got is when I would develop his 14 by 36 x-ray sets for 25 cents a set in the basement darkroom. So
It's funny when you say that. I think about how much technology has helped us to be able to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because now we don't have to book the patients. They come and book themselves online.
they could potentially.
Yeah, they could do that. There's just so many different ways to handle that. Thankfully, we've got what we have now to be able to work more freely.
Technology can help, but
It certainly can.
I come back to providing you turn off your notifications on your phone and you don't stay in your inbox all day long.
It can also be very complicated. We are in a rapid acceleration of learning more and more tech in the last since COVID. I had no idea what ClickFunnels was until last week, but boy, do I know it now.
You know it now.
Sure.
My God, and it's like it's really tough and frustrating. But then you realize, okay, great, I know a little bit more about that. That's good. That's
you have
good.
your light bulb moment.
Gosh, look at all the people trying to use Zoom for the first time.
Yeah.
Teachers
I
and
still struggle
students.
with Zoom because it's I don't know.
Yeah, John and I are both fans of StreamYard because it's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And Harvard Yard.
Harvard Yard, not so hard. I have yet to use StreamYard. In Harvard Yard.
Harvard Yard. I probably could. I'm not that
But
far away.
my dad did park his car there on more than one occasion.
In the yard.
I could join in with you guys, wicked good and all that.
Wicked awesome.
Wicked good.
Yeah.
It's wicked good.
That COVID is a pisser.
So, yeah.
Indeed, it is.
All right. So I think we've reached the point. We
The
have.
pinnacle.
No
The
return.
We've reached
Well,
the point of no
we do
return.
that at the
We start-
beginning.
Mind you, we have a reputation of going off the rails on numerous occasions, and this has been fairly spot on through the entire.
Fairly on the rails.
So, any final thoughts about questions? The good questions to ask, the questions that get us in trouble. Juan.
That's a good one. You know, I still come back to mine is always about the reframe and trying to learn from the experience. It always seems to be my key.
The things that could get us into trouble, the questions.
Well, no, just the question. It could be either those that get you in trouble or your favorite questions. Kind of reiterating what we talked about earlier. Just something that you would give as a parting recommation.
Parting gift.
Just always, we're always moving forward, and it's even the hardships are opportunities. Opportunities to learn, move forward, get better, and that's all. That's what I have to say about that.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's for me. It's funny. I may have mentioned this one time before. I created years ago a visualization meditation tape, a guided meditation tape for my dad, who was in horrific health at the time. And one of the phrases that I had at the end of the recording was, I'm going to wake up in the morning eager to start the day. He hated that. I don't know why. I guess because he didn't like waking up in the morning at the assisted living center, I guess. But but for me, the anticipatory question in my mind is always, hey, it's what's next? The excitement, what's next? And so what's next for me always implies something better is going to happen. I mean, it could imply that what next disaster is about to befall us. but I tend to be more optimistic in that realm.
Me too.
So what's next? Hey, what's next? What's next is we're coming back next week for the marketing happy hour. It's going to be at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 3 Mountain, 2 Pacific, and 11 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. Aloha and mahalo to all of you out there.
Bye-bye. Thanks for inviting me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for stopping by.